you mentioned the Roundhouse, was it? The name of the... Yeah. And this is happening throughout the UK. And I think a lot of people are actually... We haven't covered it much on this show, and a lot of people are not fully aware of what's actually going on. What is happening to many hotels around the country?
So the government are basically calling up the owners of the hotels, and sometimes if they're kind of a crappy chain, they might allow it. Or if it's even if it's a nice hotel or a listed beautiful home, they may agree if they've got some cash flow problems, and the government will call them up and say, can we rent all your rooms, and we'll take them all. And what we'll do is, we'll just give you this fee, and you can fire all your staff because we'll staff them ourselves. And, so all your staff that have been around, and your chefs and your cleaners and everything else, don't worry, you don't have to pay them. And it actually happened to a friend of mine, John Mappin, down at his hotel, Camelot Castle it was called. And they called him up, and he actually asked them, he said, so what happens if they damage it? Oh, don't worry about the damages. We'll pay for it. That's the taxpayers. So the taxpayers are paying it. Don't worry, we'll pay for it. And then he said, well, what about all the revenue that all the restaurants and everything catering to tourists usually make from people staying in my hotel? And obviously they've got no answer for that. So that's what they're doing. They're taking, some of them are the most beautiful hotels.
His is it 4-star, 5-star?
4-star hotel, I think. Yeah, beautiful hotel. But they're also doing it with landlords. This is the thing. And then they'll say, oh, we're cutting down on the migrant hotels. But they're not cutting down on the number of migrants. What they're doing is, if you look at Serco.
What's Serco?
So, funny enough, Serco kind of deal with the border control. But they also get money from the government and house immigrants. So if you go onto Serco's website, you'll see in the Midlands, we're looking for landlords. And what we'll do is we'll give you a 5-year contract, no breaks. We'll pay for all maintenance. We'll pay, you'll have no estate agent fees. We'll pay for all repairs, all the maintenance, and we'll put asylum seekers in your house. So, and sometimes it's above market rent. So, the government, and this happened under the Conservatives as well, the fake Conservative Tories.
Well,
this
just
happened,
lefties.
Yeah, this happened under them as well. So it's not just, a Labour thing. The Tories probably started under the Tories, but Labour are saying, we're going to cut down on the migrant hotels. But now they're going and even in new housing estates, there's landlords that will buy up the housing stock. Then they'll just put them out into contracts with Serco, and then Serco can just fill them up with asylum seekers, which obviously is going to affect the market for British citizens, the rental market for British citizens, and also legal immigrants who are here, who are working, who need a place to rent, because, the inventory is taken up by people renting it out to Serco. That's happening all across the Midlands and up north.
You did economics, right? So
yes.
You know your bit about the economy. What is this doing to our economy? Of course, you mentioned, I think there was something you shared actually, it was like 40 the 40 nationalities who are receiving more benefits in the UK than British people. What is that doing to our economy?
Well, the thing is we've got to fund this somehow, haven't we? They're raising taxes all over the place. They're raising council taxes. They're merging councils together. Like, for example, Stoke Council. They want to merge Stoke Council, which is massively in debt, with my county council, which is Staffordshire Moorlands. So that's going to mean that the people of Staffordshire Moorlands, whose council's pretty well run, we can balance the books. Everything's pretty much taken care of. We now have to contribute to Stoke. So all of these kinds of things are happening on a local level. They're raising, the inheritance tax for the farmers. I mean, that's just horrific. And I can go into that later. And I'm surrounded by farmers. You've never seen such hardworking people in your life that, really help keep a community together. And what people don't understand is, if you went to, what's it called? What's that program where is it Shark Tank?
Dragon's Den.
Sorry, Shark Tank in America, Dragon's Den. So if you go to Dragon's Den and say, look, I want to invest 5 million on a farm and your return's going to be like 0.5%. They're going to be like, no, like we don't, that's not even minimum wage. You want us to invest all this money and you're not going to get, we're not even going to get minimum wage back. That's how it is for the farmers. So they have the land. And then they're not making that much money from it. Then they hope that they can pass it on to their children to carry on the family business. And this also goes for small businesses, small family-run businesses. But they've got their farm. They can't sell the house because, that's where they live. They can't sell the machinery because they need the machinery to work the land. So then they've got to sell the land. But if you sell the land, how do you have the animals on it? How do you have the crops growing? So it becomes non-workable once they have to sell the land. And so, it's ruining farming. They're taking the money from the farmers. They're increasing all our tax with the green. It's a whole mess. Sorry,
no, you're absolutely right.
And didn't explain that very well.
No, I think you did though, and I think what greater example of the mess that we're in than these hardworking people. And not all farmers are, of course, British or English in the way you might imagine them, but they're hardworking people working on the soil day after day, and their money is being used to subsidise people who come here and are not working.
Yeah, sorry. Can I start that again? I'm really bad.
I thought you were good.
There's so much, because it's just so huge. It's so hard to say it in like a small amount. We're basically just having to subsidise all these people that aren't British people. We're having to subsidise the the people that have come here illegally over the channel. We're having to subsidise the people that have maybe come here to work and have decided they don't want to work. We've just come here for the economic migrants. They've come here. We're subsidising the economic migrants. We're subsidising the students and their families who they've brought over. And we're just taking all of the money from the most hardworking British people. So you just have hardworking British people waking up every morning thinking, I'm going to work. I'm having my money stolen every single which way. I'm having it stolen through my council tax raises. I'm having it stolen through my income tax, the VAT I pay on everything. I can't grow my business and employ people because then I suddenly jump up to the VAT bracket that's never moved with inflation. And now I'm earning over 90 grand. So now I have to, charge an extra 20%, which just goes to the government, doesn't go to me. So you've got these hardworking people just being stolen from at every moment by the government. Then their kids aren't safe at school. Then their girlfriends and wives aren't safe walking the streets. You don't know if your kid's going to get stabbed at school or get picked up by county lines and trying to manipulate them into selling drugs. And all of this is happening to these people. And these British people just want to, be able to work, have a safe, bring their families up safely. And it can't happen because we're just throwing away money. Wars here, there, everywhere. We're throwing away money on the illegals. We're throwing away money on the benefit scroungers that can't even speak English. We're throwing money away on interpreters for the benefit offices. We're throwing away money on interpreters for the NHS. We're just throwing away money.
DEI officers as well.
DEI officers.
That one kills me. Because then for them to be able to continue earning, they have to keep finding racism and inequality where it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Drives me mad.
And then you have America and you look there and it's like scrapping it all. They've got Dodge, and they're looking for all the, corrupt and fraudulent ways the government has been spending money, all the ways they've been back-channeling it to NGOs. They're like deporting people. They're getting rid of the DEI nonsense. They're stopping, biological men and women's sports. And it's like, why can't we just have that here?
Yeah.
Why can't just a bit of it?
When they do, if that does happen in 4 years' time, can you imagine what Keir Starmer won't be able to keep going to those boxes and Arsenal matches anymore. That's the first thing the taxpayer, he's getting freebies from people, isn't he?